Have you ever opened up a website and just wondered, how does this all actually work? Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain. We are going to build a complete web page right from scratch using nothing but HTML. It's the language that is literally the foundation of the entire web. All right, let's dive in. So, really, what is that magic that happens when you type in a web address and hit enter? How does that blank white screen suddenly become a fully formed web page? Well, it all starts with one surprisingly simple, but incredibly powerful language. I want you to think about it like this. Every single web page, I don't care how fancy or complicated it looks, is built on a skeleton, and that skeleton is HTML. It's what tells your browser, hey, this is a big headline, or this part here is a paragraph, or put an image right here. It gives the page its fundamental structure. So what is HTML really? The name stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Now, the key word there is markup. This isn't a programming language where you're writing complex logic. No, you're simply marking up your text and your content with these little tags to tell the browser how to structure everything. Okay, so just like any good building needs a solid blueprint before you start putting up walls, every single web page starts with the same basic structure. This is the absolute foundation, and here's the best part, it's pretty much always the same. Let's break down those essential pieces. Every single HTML page you ever make will have these 4 non-negotiable parts. First up, you've got the doctype declaration. That's just you telling the browser, hey, we're using modern HTML5 here. Then the HTML tag wraps around everything else. It's the main container. Inside that, you have the head, which holds all the behind-the-scenes info, like the little title you see up in the browser tab. And finally, the body. That's where all the good stuff goes. Everything you actually see on the page lives inside the body. And here it is. This is what that blueprint looks like in actual code. Believe it or not, this is a complete, totally valid web page. Sure, it's empty, but it has everything it needs. You can see the doctype at the top, our main HTML tag, the head with a title inside, and the body, just waiting for us to add some content. This is our starting line. All right, our blueprint is in place. Now for the fun part. It's time to actually start building. So let's learn the basic vocabulary of HTML, the building blocks that'll let us put some real content on our page. The most fundamental piece of HTML is something called a tag. It's super simple. It's just a keyword that you wrap in these angle brackets, like H1. This tells the browser where something begins, and then you use that little / in the second tag to tell it where that same something ends. So if tags are like the bookends, the element is the entire set. It's the whole package. You've got your opening tag, you've got the actual content in the middle, and then you have the closing tag. All of that together creates one complete element that the browser knows exactly what to do with. Now, this is where things start to get really powerful. We can give our elements special abilities using something called attributes. An attribute is just a little piece of extra information that you add to the opening tag. A perfect example is the href attribute on a link. That's what tells the browser where the link should go. Think of attributes as settings or even little superpowers for your HTML elements. Okay, so now that you know the basic grammar, here's your starter pack. These are the 4 most essential tools you're going to use all the time. You've got H1 for your main big headline, P for any paragraph of text, A for creating links, and IMG for, you guessed it, putting images on the page. Seriously, with just these 4, you can build a surprisingly functional web page. Now, the image tag is a little bit of a special case. It's what we call a self-closing tag, so it doesn't need that separate closing tag with the slash. But what it absolutely positively does need are 2 key attributes. src, which tells the browser the source, where to find the image file, and alt, which provides a text description of the image. And I called attributes a superpower for a reason because alt text is so important. Why? Well, for one, it's crucial for accessibility. Screen readers read that text out loud for visually impaired users. 2, it's great for SEO. It helps search engines like Google understand what your image is about, which helps your ranking. And 3, it's backup. If the image file breaks or fails to load, that alt text will show up instead. So please, whatever you do, never, ever skip the alt text. Okay, so we know how to add content. That's awesome. But now let's talk about how to structure it in a smart way. This is the step that really separates a basic, kind of messy page from a clean, professional one. So at this point, you might be thinking, hang on, I've seen this div tag everywhere. Why can't I just wrap everything in a div? It seems way simpler. And you know what? That is a great question. And there's a really, really important reason why that's not the best idea. This table really breaks it down. A div, you see, is just a generic box. It has no meaning. It's just a container. But tags like section or article or nav, they're what we call semantic. They actually describe the meaning of the content inside them. A nav tag doesn't just hold links. It tells browsers, search engines, and screen readers, hey, this is the main navigation for the site. So what's the big deal? Why does this matter so much? Well, using these semantic tags makes your site way more accessible. It boosts your SEO because search engines can better understand your page's structure. And honestly, it just makes your code a million times easier to read, both for you and for anyone else who might work on it later. It is a total win-win-win. All right, this is the moment we've been building up to. It's time to put all the pieces together. We're going to take our blueprint, our content tags, and our new understanding of semantic structure, and we're going to build our first complete web page. And here is our finished product. Take a look. We've got our semantic tags creating a beautiful structure. There's a header at the top holding our main heading. We have a nav element for our menu links. The main element wraps our core content, the paragraphs and the image. And down at the bottom, a footer for that copyright info. It may be simple, but this is a perfectly structured, meaningful web page. And just like that, you did it. You have officially built the skeleton of a real website. It might not look like a design masterpiece just yet, but you have laid a solid, meaningful foundation that you can now build anything on top of. Seriously, take a second to appreciate that. This is a huge first step. But of course, as we said, HTML is just the skeleton. It's just the first step. To really bring a website to life, you need to know about the other two members of what people call the web trinity. You've got HTML for the structure, the skeleton. Then you have CSS, which is like the clothing, giving it all the style and color. And finally, JavaScript is the personality. It adds all the interactivity. So you've successfully built a strong skeleton for your website. The structure is there, the meaning is there. The big question now is, how do you give it some style? Well, that's a story for another time. Thanks so much for joining me.